you've been present for a number of my realizations, and you've saved me quite a few times. The energy in that laugh is just so pure and joyous. And like when it comes, I'm just reminded of the fact that did the best I knew how at the time, but now I know better and I can do better. And that's exciting, right? Because it's forgiveness for myself for the past, acceptance of where I am, love for where I am, and such excitement for what comes next.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I'm your host, Tim Matthews, with Mr. Mark Smith and the incredible Mr. Chris Cameron, aka
The Love Power.
The Love Power.
I love that.
This is going to be a fun conversation. So, we're just off the back of the Rising.
We are.
How'd you find it?
Unbelievably enlightening on so many levels. It was challenging, but in the healthiest and most incredible ways. Yeah, and just incredible.
You say in the most exciting and healthiest of ways. What do you mean?
It was scary, but it was only scary because I was letting go of the day-to-day comforts. And halfway through day one, the noise on the outside was turned down so much that, well, the way you put it, the noise on the inside got turned up. And I just learned a lot about myself, which was the enlightening part, right? Diving into stories, noticing things about my body, noticing things about the way I think, noticing things about the way I feel, learning about myself, studying myself. What an incredible journey to take, to study oneself.
Reminds me of that quote by, I think, Seneca or Socrates, know thyself. That's so simple, but also so profound, right?
Absolutely.
It's not a new saying, right? We've heard it for decades. Yeah, how many people actually know thyself?
Yeah, that's the journey that I've been on for many years, specifically with that focus.
Tell me more.
Oh, we can go metaphysical with this. So I was diagnosed, a quick anecdote, I was diagnosed when I was in my early 20s with astigmatism. So I'd wear spectacles. And I read a book by Louise Hay called You Can Heal Your Life. And when I looked into astigmatism, it's called eye trouble. It's fear of really seeing the self. So I went, oh, okay, so I'm going to dive into really seeing myself. And that has come to me in so many different ways, in so many profound ways. And the result is that I no longer wear spectacles because my eyesight has improved and my astigmatism has gone has improved much more.
I love that.
Wow.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So this journey of know thyself, I think it's a great topic for this, right? As we either venture through the Rising or venture through life. I'm wondering how right now we could convey the power, really, and importance of knowing thyself. I think about guys who are listening to this right now. It could be guys that have been in the movement for a while and are on the journey of knowing thyself, or some may think they already know thyself. And then there's going to be people that are on the outside who honestly have probably heard the idea of know thyself, but haven't even begun the journey of knowing thyself. So let's dive into it a little bit and see if we can dissect it in some ways and add some value to that conversation. So on this journey during the Rising over the past few days, in this theme of know thyself, what are some of the key insights you've uncovered about yourself?
One of the first ones was the fewer distractions I had, the less hungry I was, which was incredibly eye-opening to me. And even just through talking to you about it, learning that there's probably some really interesting triggers in my life that cause me to go and grab snacks or go and, get hungry or fill the void. And that's a really interesting thing for me to take back and play around with, and just to take a step back and watch myself on a day-to-day basis and see, okay, well, this situation has caused a craving for something. What was it about the situation that did that? It's almost like a different level of accountability,
Yeah.
right? Like understanding why I'm doing some of the things I do that may be on autopilot, which are things that all of us do it on and off throughout the day, on and off throughout life. But to take a step back and watch it for a bit, to even think to or know to watch it, is an incredibly exciting step to be able to take.
Yeah, do you know that the power in that as well? There's levels to this game of personal growth, right? And I really want to emphasize the power of that, because as you rise up, no pun intended, but as you've done the work on yourself over the past few years, you come into the movement, you go through the reset, and really the reset is designed to reset, right? I think it does a good job of helping you to reset.
Agreed.
And then as the months and years go by and you continue to implement what you've realized and shift, I mean, you've gone through so many transitions of and identities over the past few years is wild. I can think of 3 without even trying.
Yeah.
Right? Your growth has just been incredible.
It's been fun.
So to get to the point of recognizing, oh, there's a tiny little leak here and a leak there, with the triggers with food.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The level that you perform at, by you becoming aware of that and plugging that leak, that tiny leak could give you exponential results.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because of the level you operate at. It's often the tiny tweaks, the 1% little optimizations when you're at your spot, right? In the beginning, a few years ago, it was not so much about the 1% shifts because you needed bigger shifts.
That's right.
Now it's those 1% little tweaks that open up, that provide exponential results.
Yeah. There was, in one of my former lives when I worked in retail, there was an executive used to play for the Mets. His name was Doug Mizzy. And one of his sayings that he would bring out at the annual conferences, or one of his questions would be, does anybody know the difference between hot water and boiling water? And it's quite literally 1 degree.
Yep.
1 degree Fahrenheit. And I think that ties in beautifully with what you're saying around those 1% changes, those 1% differences. Even becoming aware of the potential of that it's exciting.
Oh, for sure. And this is why somebody coming into the movement, they're not ready for a rising. It's nothing against them.
Nope.
Sure.
They've got to do the groundwork first through, be it the activation method, the reset, whatever it may be, to enable them to build up the temperature, essentially, so they can get to the point of that 1 degree making all the difference.
Yeah.
I love that 1 degree shift.
Yeah. The air is thinner, isn't it? As you rise, so the nuances are there, and that can make it more challenging, right? Because it's not so obvious to see what those changes are that need to be made. And yet, speaking exponentially, once that shift happens, it can create a massive tectonic plate shift underneath.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What was your biggest shift
This past week?
Yeah.
Recognizing the power of love.
That was a wonderful theme this week, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was such an incredibly empowering and simple realization to come to. But just to understand on a visceral level the power of I love you and what that can do in life, in disagreements, in repairing relationships, in maintaining relationships, was just unbelievably enlightening and also exciting to just learn and understand and see from a higher level, from a top-down view. It was such an incredible moment of enlightenment that I had to stop and start laughing.
Yeah.
You've been present for a number of my realizations, and you've saved me quite a few times. The energy in that laugh is just so pure and joyous. And like when it comes, I'm just reminded of the fact that did the best I knew how at the time, but now I know better and I can do better. And that's exciting, right? Because it's forgiveness for myself for the past, acceptance of where I am, love for where I am, and such excitement for what comes next.
Can I add something? So the I love you was looking out. If you were to look in and say, I am love, how would that land for you?
I am love. Yeah. The smile comes over.
Yeah.
Right? That energy, it feels right. It feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does.
Let's break this piece down a bit, right? Because I can imagine guys are listening and the idea of I am love or I love you. I got to imagine some guys may resist it or think it sounds a bit fluffy or weak or brush over it, whatever it may be. But just explain a little bit, Chris, about why that realization is so powerful for you.
So for me, the realization was so powerful because I had set out on a bit of a journey to find something. And my intention in finding this thing was so pure. It was to help somebody. But my expectation was it was going to take a lot of effort to find it.
Yeah.
And it quite literally took me 3 steps to find this thing.
Yeah.
And when I realized instantly that it was 3 steps, I realized that those 3 steps were I love you. And what I had been really diving into was some familial relationships and how can I reconcile those? How can I move forward with those? And I hadn't been caught in analysis paralysis, but I felt I was starting to get there. And as soon as I realized the 3 steps that I had taken and that they meant I love you to me, I realized that that's all it takes in those relationships. Yeah. And I also realized that that's all it takes.
Yeah.
I've historically been one of those guys that doesn't say I love you very often. It's not my go-to. Now it is.
It's my come from.
It's my come from.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? Like, I've been blessed to be able to come to this ranch for a number of events. And a couple of, I think it was 2 years ago, I had some deep realizations for myself around the difference between intention and expectation. And this exercise also just really reinforced for me how important intention is. And if your intention comes from love, it can't land anywhere but in a good way. And it's so hard to hold a grudge or truly be upset with somebody if they've shared with you in a genuine way that they love you.
Hey guys, I just want to share something with you. I'm sure we can both agree that in order to fix something, you need to know what's broken. And not only do you know what's broken, but a step-by-step methodology on how you can fix it. That's the easiest way to do it, right? Otherwise, you're going to be toiling with things. That's why I created a free training, a training that not only shows you how you got to where you are, where your relationship is missing that love, respect, admiration, and even intimacy that it used to have, to how you get it back. How do you retain that where your wife's looking at you the same way she used to look at you when she said, I do? You know, I don't know about you, but for me, when my wife looks at me like I'm her man, that I feel like I can conquer the world. And I want that for you. Simply go over to thepowerfulman.com/scales. That's thepowerfulman.com/scales. And I have a free video training for you. You can just click play and see if this resonates for you. Now back to the podcast.
It disarms, right? And you guys know that I started singing that song, The Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News, right? Like it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a completely different understanding for me of that timeless phrase, love conquers all. And whether it's romantic love or brotherly love or family love, maternal, paternal, love is love. And it's such a high vibrational state. I think it might be the highest or one of the highest.
It's one of the top 3.
Yeah. What a place to be. Like what a place to come from. Yeah.
I think the one thing we all want, I know there's apparently 6 human needs, right? Certainty, uncertainty, significance, growth, contribution, and
Freedom.
no, I can't remember the 6th one. But anyway, point being is, for me, if I reflect on this event, this conversation, the thousands of men that we've worked with, the number one thing that I think we all crave is connection. Above and beyond everything. Significance is a gateway to connection. I want to be significant, so why?
Yeah.
So I can be accepted and have connection. I want to have a contribution. Why?
Yeah.
So, and I think life would be so much easier if we all realized that the number one thing we're all actually chasing is connection. And it's so easy as you go through life to get into a situation where you have a disagreement with someone you love and you forget that you both want the same thing,
Yeah.
which is to be seen and heard and connect. But in that moment, that's forgotten and it becomes about you versus them or them versus you. And in my experience, what I found to be really powerful is in those moments of disagreement for me to remind the person, hey, I love you. You're important to me. This relationship's important to me, and that's why I'm saying this, because I want to be closer to you.
Yeah.
And well, even you use Doug and I in our relationship over the 8 years, right? We've got, well, it's like having a work wife. It's the same thing.
Doug would not like you to call him a wife.
It's the same thing about me. So we're all good. But point being is communication's the number one thing.
Yeah.
And a big thing with him and I over the years is we disagree in 2 strong personalities, right? So you're going to disagree, you're going to clash, there's all sorts. And I think the thing that's seen us through a lot of the ups and downs has been the communication, but in particular within the communication, something we always say to one another is, hey, so I'll say I'm speaking to him. Hey, look, Doug, I love you. I never want any mud on the glass between us. Our relationship's super important to me. So I just want to share this thing.
Yeah.
And we have a philosophy that there's never going to be any mud on the glass between us. And it comes back to that thing of love.
Yeah.
All right, above and beyond everything else, we come from love and respect for one another and for each other's families.
Yeah.
And it's the same with anyone. It could be Amelia. We're in a disagreement, and I might have to remind her, "Hey, I love you. I want to be in a relationship with you."
Yeah.
And that's where I'm coming from with this.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's very easy for that just to get lost and forgotten in amongst when we're triggered or when we're not getting our own way or somebody says something, we take it personally and fall into deer mode or whatever it is. I think to your point, Chris, just remembering the power of love and the fact that we all want the same thing, connection.
Yeah.
It sounds cliche, but it can just cure so many things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many songs that have been written about, you know, the power of love, etc. Love conquers all.
There's
You
a
can go
reason,
on.
right?
And there is a reason. And to what you were saying, it really occurs to me that a lot of us don't necessarily think it through as deeply as we can. And the relationship I've got, for example, with my daughter, I met her at the age of 8. We have an exceptionally honest relationship. And I said from the get-go, I'm not your father, I'm not your friend, I'm Mark, right? And I'm in your life to love you and provide for you and so on and so forth. And she just tells me straight what she thinks of everything that I say or do to this day. And we even work closely together. And it's such a gift. It's such an incredible thing. And I value it so much that there's such honesty in the relationship. And that's what is created here amongst the men as well, because of the love that we have for each other and the fact that we are warriors doing the work, and we don't allow mud to be on the glass as much as we possibly can. Clear it up. It doesn't always get cleared up as quickly as it could. That tells me that love isn't soft and fluffy. It's just an incredible gift and a privilege, and it's not always easy, and yet there's huge value, you know, behind that clarity of the love.
You know, I think about attachment types, and the guys here, right, are able to be so honest with one another. Because they love one another.
Yeah.
And in doing so, it creates this secure attachment type, right?
Yeah.
Which within a secure attachment type in any relationship, be it intimate or otherwise, it enables honesty because you know the person isn't going to close down or leave or abandon you or whatever it is. And I know it's an idealist kind of point of view right now, but I just wonder what might be possible in the world if people really did leverage the power of love, what that might do to all this dysfunction relationships because of the attachment types that get created because of a lack of love.
Yeah, exactly.
And therefore a lack of honesty because people worry people leaving them or shutting down or stonewalling them or whatever it may be.
Revenge.
Right? But instead, if everyone was able to just remember that the power of love, and even know thyself. If you're really real with yourself, and you can examine your needs and come to realize that connection is the most important thing to me, which for most people it is.
Yeah.
Then, if that's true, how might you then be able to leverage the power of love?
There's another word that came up for me when you were speaking, which was, you know, love myself. And as a result of loving myself, completely accept myself exactly as I am, with my flaws and, you know, warts and all. I think that's really important because then that provides the opportunity for another to accept themselves and therefore love themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Accepting yourself it's a journey, right? But embracing love and spending time looking at what you love about yourself, even seeking feedback from people being close to you, who you love, what they love about you, or what greatness they see in you.
Yeah.
What a gift.
Yeah.
What a gift. You know, it can. One of the other things that really helped with this week was breaking down the stories, like just the power of love and what it can do to break down those stories that we tell ourselves, or those stories that subconsciously are planted or even generationally planted. And it's truly an incredibly powerful thing to know thyself and to go on the journey of knowing thyself and to love thyself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's transcendent.
It's incredible. Yeah.
I think one of the things that's really transformed my relationship with Amelia, more recently, actually, in hindsight, has been the power of love. It's been my commitment to remain open to her, even when I've wanted to close down. Because historically, what I would have done is I would have closed down and stopped doing the things that I would do when I was open. So, for example, that might be acts of service without being asked, which is essentially is me being attuned to her needs and understanding where she's at and taking things off her plate to make her life easier. Whether it's making her a drink, whether it's seeing that the dishwasher needs doing and doing it, whether it's whatever it may be. And historically, if we would have been in a disagreement and I would have been triggered, I would have known that the dishwasher needed doing, but I would have been honest, I'd have that.
Withholding.
Yeah, well, I would have just been like, well, that's her thing to do.
Yeah.
Because in terms of roles and responsibilities and agreements we've made and blah, 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 for the most part, bell-shaped curve, that's her thing to do, right? But the power of love and the commitment I have had to it means I do it even when I don't want to, or even when I don't feel like it, but I've remained committed to the power of love. And thus, even in the disagreement, I'm still able to see what it is she needs in the moment, and I'm still providing that to her.
Yeah.
And what that has done for her and her levels of safety
Yeah.
and our levels of connection, it's just, they've been exponential.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well done.
I believe it.
Yeah, thank you. It's a journey. It's tough, right?
Yeah.
It's
It's tough to be committed when our inner child has been, triggered from the wound, to then show up from a mature masculine point of view, and as you say, do what I don't feel like doing, and still stay committed to being the love of that person's life.
Yeah.
power of love, eh? I've got a question for you, actually.
Yeah. Fire away.
So we've got a guy listening to this. He's been through the reset. He is kind of thinking, I don't need to go to the rising. It's just, just another reset, really. I've been there, done that. What advice would you give him?
I would really encourage him to take an honest look at himself and ask himself if he were to rate himself on a 1 to 10 for growth before the reset and after the reset, figure out what that number is. I would imagine it's a 10 because most of us aren't awake when we go into the reset. We come out awake. And remember that feeling when you came to whatever your realization was during the reset. Now take that feeling, connect back into it, and amplify that feeling by a factor of 100. You should do the rising. But you've got to be ready and willing to believe in yourself and to know that the work doesn't end. It doesn't finish. There isn't a finish line. If you think there's a finish line, you're wrong. I love you, but you're wrong. If you think that it might be for you, remember that feeling. That feeling when you came to your realization, and know that should you choose to do the rising and should you be up to the challenge, should you stick with it, should you do the work, you'll be rewarded with a whole new level of awareness and growth from within that you didn't know was there, but will give you a whole new respect for that saying that the destination is the journey. Because the journey doesn't end. The onion, you haven't reached the center of the onion. There's no way to.
want to commend you, brother, because you're doing the work. And that's rare, as we've spoken about the past few days. There are tens of thousands of people that download this podcast every week. I love you, and lots of them won't be doing the work. It's just the reality.
Yeah.
Just the way it goes. I would love for them all to be doing the work, because imagine the kind of world we'd have.
Yeah,
Incredible.
that's the dream, isn't it?
That's the dream, yeah.
It'd be incredible.
But men like you, Chris, are incredibly rare. The way that you have chosen to take time out of your life to come and voluntarily go through a process that you didn't have a clue what you're going to go through, because you understand that you are the number one asset in your life, and the man that you are and the person you are in going back home for your girls, for your partner, for the people in your life.
Yeah.
It's incredible. We need more men like you.
Thank
And I
you.
mean that.
Thank you. Thank you. I receive that.
I'm complete, thank you.
So guys, as we say, at the moment of insight, take massive action. We'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.